It's the Curiously Insane Podcast. Tyler T with the facts.
What it do, what it be? It's your boy Tyler Transue here with the Curiously Insane Podcast, where we find out what fires people up, and in doing so, we fire you up to find your Everest and climb it. Because, baby, it ain't the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dogs. Go, bro! So today, I have the honor and privilege of sitting down with the one, the only Eric Mintel of Eric Mintel Investigates and the Eric Mintel Quartet. So, Eric, welcome to the show, my man. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Oh, just peachy, just peachy. Dude, I love the ET.
He's my co-host.
Shoulder.
He's my co-host.
Everybody get some great content out of him today.
Everybody's got to have an ET, man. I mean, we're all part of this community, man.
For sure. Well, dude, I love what you're doing, man. And so, like, let me ask. I guess the thing you've been doing the longest is probably the jazz music. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And what got you into that? And when was that?
Well, I've been playing the piano probably since I've been like 3 years old. I mean, my parent, we didn't have much growing up, but we had a piano in the house that was mostly in tune most of the time. And I'm an only child, so I was trying to always make up my own entertainment. And so my parents could always find me at the piano, and I was making up my own melodies. And it just led to, like, when I was 14, I found my parents, thank God, they had great music played in the house all the time. And around 14, I was going through the record collection, and I found an old 45 of Dave Brubeck Quartet on a record, on records when they had records, and put the record on. And there was a tune called Blue Rondo, a la Turk, and Take 5. And I put that music on, and I just had that epiphany, like that. This is what I want to play. Even though at the time I didn't know it was called jazz, right? But I knew that's what I wanted to play. And then that led to everything of me learning about Dave Brubeck, learning all the stuff. I made a recording of this record and on a cassette tape player. And then I sat it down next to me on the piano, and I'm playing it and then playing it on the piano, going back here, and which I didn't know I was doing, but I was transcribing the tune from the cassette, from what I was hearing, to the piano. So I was so into that, and that was just so ingrained at an early age. And then I learned everything. And then I found out I listened to a lot of other players. I listened to like Oscar Peterson, Chick Corea, Art Tatum, Duke Ellington, all these great guys. But what was wild was my hero, Dave Brubeck. We opened up at the Kimmel Center in Philadelphia for Dave Brubeck. And there's Dave right there in the audience watching us, smiling from ear to ear, man. It was like a dream come true.
That is insane, man. So basically you manifested that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, who would have ever guessed that your idol, you would end up opening for them and, like, having them, watch you play, right?
It was, we had a writing correspondence together for years, probably from like 1990 to this happened. This opening thing was in 2005. But from that point, we were in it, man. I was at Dave's house in 1999. So Dave was like such a great guy. If people know anything about Dave Brubeck, he was not only a great musician, but he was all about like the civil rights movement. He was all back in the day, he was one of those guys that was a straight arrow family man and just really was like walked his talk. And that's one of the things I loved about Dave was like, not only the music, I learned a lot of life lessons from him as well. His work ethic, to constantly be out there working and making a lot of people happy. So, and whenever you mention Dave Brubeck, whenever we do tributes to Dave Brubeck or something, a lot of people always say, "Oh, I saw Dave Brubeck in 1954 on my college campus," and because he goes way back to, like, I think the Dave Brubeck Quartet was like 52 to like 67, and I was born in 1967, so I didn't get a chance to see that, but it was cool to know him afterward. And I mean, God, the guy was like 94 when he passed. But he would sit down at the piano and play like a teenager, man. He had so much energy, and he was a strong cat.
That is insane. And bro, so how do you even make that happen? Because we're going back to 1990, right? So it's not like Nowadays, it's just a little easier to maybe, if the person is active on Twitter,
Yeah.
or
Well,
Facebook, or somehow you can get their contact info. But back then, like, you're doing legwork, right? Like, when you say you're corresponding, I
oh yeah.
assume you guys are writing letters,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
correct?
Typing letters and sending them off, putting a stamp on them. And I still have them. I have them up on my wall here. I've got tons of letters from Dave. Even handwritten notes, like notation of him writing like notes out, Christmas cards, all kinds of stuff. He would say, "My God, you play my music better than I play it." And I was like, and I'm completely self-taught. That was another thing. So we could go back to 1982 when
Okay.
I took my first piano lesson for a year, and I was coming to the lessons. I was about 14. I was coming to the lessons playing Blue Rondo, Take Five, all of this obscure, very difficult Dave Brubeck music, and my piano teacher was trying to teach me Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So it was tough that way. But he said, "Look, I can't really teach you anymore. You're going to have to go your own way." And that's what I've done ever since then. I've just gone my own way, and I've learned as much. And then the guys in my group, we've been together now, man, over 20 years.
Wow.
As a quartet, and we're like reading each other's minds. I mean, you've seen some of the clips on there.
Yeah.
That stuff just happens, man. I mean, it's like it's never discussed. I mean, it may like a new tune that I'll come with. I might talk about that and say, "Hey, I want it to sound something like this," but I never tell them how to play it.
Right.
They instinctively know what to do. Like any good musician, like any good athlete, they're going to know what to do. And it's been an incredible situation. We've had some great opportunities.
Dude, that's amazing. So now going back here, so like all self-taught, um, so have you always just had like a good ear for music? So you like you're talking about being little, having that cassette, playing it, you hear the note, you can find that note corresponding on the keyboard, and then
Yeah.
you can play, find the melody from there. Can you read sheet music as well, or are you
No.
all?
Nope. That's the one. My one regret is that I can't really read that well, and I can't write music. It's all up here. So you know what it's like, man. I'm like,
Yep.
music is swimming around in my head 24/7. So you could go insane with that, just doing that,
Yeah.
And that's why a couple of the tunes, like when COVID happened, I wrote a lot of tunes and got a lot of stuff out that that was swimming around in my head, and I got it out on paper. And then now for these tours that we just logged thousands of miles on these tours that we were just on, and we played a lot of the new tunes that I had in my head. So I feel like I'm like, I'm like, it's that kind of thing. It's like you know what I'm saying. It's like that creative thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, pretty
And
much.
dude, so that's sick that you guys have been able to, and you specifically, take that passion and energy and being self-taught and pouring out your creativity onto the piano. And let me mention this, dude. Some of the clips I've seen, I mean, bro, your fingers can fly. I mean, it's amazing that.
Thank you.
Yep, that is all just swimming around in your head, and you're able to channel that out through the fingertips onto the keys.
Spontaneously, yeah. And I don't know where that. I mean, I don't know where that comes from. It's like that's the only time I think I'm really in the moment. The in the moment creativity. I'm never really in the moment. I'm always thinking ahead. I'm always thinking of the next thing. And that's with jazz. What you're doing is you're thinking of the next chord, the next line you're going to play, the next gig or whatever, or the next emotional. I always think of jazz as a melodic music. Now, that's why I really gravitated toward Dave Brubeck, because he was more melodic jazz. Now, if there was like very avant-garde jazz that's very out there, it kind of turns me off, to be honest with you, because if you can't, and if you're going to hit people with that don't know anything about jazz, and you're going to hear avant-garde jazz for the first time, you're going to turn people off from that. And a lot of people say, you hear a lot of people, well, jazz, it's a lot of notes. I think it's just because they haven't been exposed to the right kind of jazz. They could get exposed to that later, but they first need a starting point, like a starting point and then an ending point. And that's kind of like what I try to do with my music, is tell a story. And it's all about emotional content. And just like our videos, it's about tension and release, tension and release. And it's amazing. It's just amazing. And, and being creative, that's the other thing. There's music that, I might hear a one tune or a note, like coming home from a gig or something, right? And it might have been something that we might have just played. And I'll remember that note and I'll write a tune based around that one note.
Wow.
And it's kind of cool. And I wrote a tune called A Single Note because that's all it was. And it was this whole big tune that I wrote out of just this one note that I heard. So
dude, that is insane. I wish Chris Rupert was on here because I know that he I doubt
where the hell is Chris? Where's Chris, man?
I don't know. He may have had to take a child to some extracurricular activity.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
But he might drop in then. But dude, so going back just a bit, you've been able to take that passion, that ability to one, put yourself out there, because that's what a lot of it is, man. It's hard to write music, to shoot videos, only because the world is very judgmental. People are judgmental. And it's not always easy to like shrug off the negativity and embrace the positivity. But by you doing that consistently for years and years and years, bro, you were able to take, your band, the Eric Mintel Quartet, to the White House, not once, but twice, correct? Like, can you share a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for saying that too. It was something, I think around 1998. And I remember watching, I was watching TV and I saw a commercial up at the White House come on. And I thought to myself, for a few years, I had started my quartet in 1993. And I saw this commercial. And, when I started the quartet, we did the college circuit. We were all over the country doing, the college circuit. And that was great. But I wanted to, in the clubs and stuff like that, but I wanted to take us to another level. I just didn't want to rest on my laurels and just do bar band stuff. I wanted to go to the next level, concert halls and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So I saw the White House commercial and I said, I'm gonna just reach out to them and see, and I'm gonna go right to the top and see, what they have to offer. So when I called, they said, well, you need to talk to the social secretary of the White House. That's who puts together events and things like that. And my thought process there was like to see if they had any programs where they send musicians around to perform in any kind of positive outreach, like for performing for the homeless, troops overseas, anything that you could use positively with jazz, right?
Yeah.
So I was on the road. Oh, so what I did was I sent my press kit in. I had this is when we had CDs, man. So I sent our CD in and I put it in a manila envelope. I put a couple of loose press clippings that I had from a couple of newspaper stories that I had written, threw that in there, threw the CD in there, put my letter in there about what I wanted to do. Boom, mailed it off. And I'm on the road. I'm just driving around and I check my answering machine at home and I get this call that says, this is the White House. We'd like to invite the Eric Mintel Quartet to the White House for Christmas. I was like, what? And this was 1998. So it turns out it was a holiday dinner reception for President Clinton. It was for family, friends, and foes of the president.
Wow, yeah, dude.
So it was incredible. So that was like December 22nd of 1998. And man, it was totally surreal, man. I mean, we went, you go through all the process. They have to check you out and everything. Yep. And we got up to the White House and you go through the gates. I mean, it's just like a movie, man. You see the Secret Service, talking and stuff. So the Army band went in before us. They had to go in. Even the Secret Service was going through their instruments, man. It was just like, you had the mirrors going under the van and stuff. The drug sniffing dog was around.
Yep.
And so we went in and met my contact at the White House. Her name was Danielle Westfall. She's not there anymore, but she was an angel, man. She was just incredible. And one of these people that was just like, hey, I'm going to give this guy a shot, Yeah. And those people are rare to come by in life. This is why what you said about the negativity and judgmental. I never burn bridges wherever I go, because you never know when you're going to need somebody in the future, right?
Yep.
And even though it's a no now, it might be a yes in the future. So anyway, she was great. I mean, she really just was like phenomenal. And we went inside and it wasn't even the band that I have now. I mean, that's how long ago it was.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was 1998. And we had a saxophone all ready to go to set up for Clinton to play because he played tenor sax.
Okay.
And he couldn't get a chance to play. But man, it was crazy. It was the day after the Monica Lewinsky thing. And then it was like a day before he was supposed to like bomb Iraq or something like that. And it was just insane. But he was totally
And it's on Christmas.
And it was on Christmas, yeah. And it was like incredible. So he comes into so they take us down to what's called the diplomatic room. And this is where he meets all the foreign diplomats from all over the world. So here we are in this room, and I'm like this. So we're looking around. It's just like completely like, surreal. And so Clinton walks in, and I was like surprised because he was really tall. He was at a good, I'm tall, but he's got like a good 2 inches on me. So he's probably like 6'2". So he came over and I shook his hand. I said, Mr. President, and here's where Dave Brubeck comes in again. I said, Mr. President, you and I have a mutual friend in Dave Brubeck. And he goes, Dave Brubeck I just gave Dave Brubeck the National Medal of the Arts Award. And Dave Brubeck said I was the only elected official that could hum the bridge to his tune, Blue Rondo a la Turk. So
what?
it was really cool that way. So now this was wild. So the second time, fast forward 13 years, right?
Okay.
I'm doing my thing. We're playing all over the country. And my girlfriend says, you should try to get back in the White House. And I said, there's no way. I said, there's no way. That was like a once in a lifetime thing. There's no way.
Right.
And she goes, try it. Just give it a shot. Just call. And I still had the phone number in my phone. Right. So, yeah. I mean, it's out there. It's on the internet. You could find it, whatever. So I called and they knew who I was, man. They had all of my information. They said, what's your availability for December 11th of 2011?
What?
So this was for Obama, right? So
yeah.
So here we go, another holiday reception thing where we played and he was there, Michelle was there, we were having a good time. And it was funny that there was a painting of Clinton right there on the wall next to the piano.
No way.
It was just so weird, man. It was just wild. So, and when you walk into the White House, dude, it is like history in the making. I mean, it's like when you walk in there, the floors are so creaky and the smell, that old smell of like, how old that place is and the history of that. That's what really got me when I first went in there. And I said, man, and even back then, when I didn't even have this paranormal stuff yet, I said, man, we should come in and do an investigation at this place.
That's insane, dude.
So, and then we went down to, then they took us down to the diplomatic room again. And we met President Obama and his wife and Michelle. And it was funny, and met him again. And I said, Mr. President, you and I have a mutual friend in Dave Brubeck. He goes, Dave Brubeck was the very first jazz concert I went to go see with my father when I was a kid.
Wow.
It was just so, the synergies, man, were just like insane. So those things are incredible. I mean, on my wall, I've got a thing for the White House that says the White House presents the Eric Mintel Quartet. And I mean, those are memorabilia things. I have like a lot of memorabilia from there. I have like cards from the White House saying that, I couldn't even, like for the Obama thing, I couldn't even say anything to the press. Like I was like, for Clinton, I leaked it out to the press that we were going. And man, it was a newspaper frenzy back then. I was on the front cover of all these newspapers and stuff. It was.
I mean, dude, you think about your life as a storybook, bro. And like, dude, how insane are those chapters in your life, man? Like, yeah, out of 7.5 billion people in the world, there are very, very, very few that can say they played it, their band played at the White House twice. That's a very select crowd, man. And you should be super proud of yourself, dude. It helps. I think it helps, hopefully, the audience be like, bro, we can do anything we really put our minds to. We really can.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times it's as simple as like asking and just, putting yourself out there.
Arch, isn't that the truth, man? It's like just asking, and that's what I think a lot of people are afraid to because of the rejection. It's that rejection thing. Now I had always been a salesman too. So there's probably a thick skin that I have, that I've had so many doors slammed in my face, whether or not it's like sales or music and whatever, even though I went to the White House, it's not an open door, as far as getting into gigs and stuff. I still have to, you still have to hustle with everything, but
Yep.
it makes things a lot easier, because you've got all that, that publicity behind you.
Right.
And that's always great. But again, it's the public, the public is really the reason why we're there. The public, I really treat my public really, with special care, because, like not a lot of jazz musicians, kind of put the wall up between themselves and the audience. And I'm not like that. I get the audience involved into what we're doing, and it's funny because I just said this the other day. When I talk to my jazz audience about a tune that I just wrote, I say, I just wrote this tune, and they'll maybe half-heartedly listen to what I'm saying. But the minute I say, oh, by the way, I also have a paranormal TV show, and we do it gets quiet. You could hear a pin drop, man.
Oh, wow.
So there's the interest of people for the paranormal is, I'm finding more and more, it's phenomenal, man. I mean, I think, and people, like I said, a lot more people are more open to what's going on than they were even 10 years ago.
Oh, well, yeah. No, it's really wild how that the paranormal topic is just snowballing to the point where the House Intelligence Committee, the C3 subcommittee, is going to conduct an open hearing here on May 17th, right? At
Yep.
10 a.m. And like you, I don't mind people saying no, and it doesn't hurt to ask. So, dude, I'll be darned. As we're talking about this, I get the email back. I reached out to the necessary people to try and get press credentials so that I can get like actually film footage of the open hearing. So I spoke to them on the phone, like the people that do the vetting and approval. They said, yeah, send me an email. So, dude, I don't know. I threw it out in the universe. The
Yeah.
universe doesn't know it's a possibility until like I voice it and take some action. So at least now the universe knows it's a possibility.
Absolutely.
And bro, if they say yes, again, once in a lifetime opportunity, bro. I cherish this shit, and
Oh, yeah.
I just get so fired up. Even if they say no, dude, it's just dope. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna ask. This is like I'm a tax-paying U.S. citizen.
Yep.
If this stuff says it's an open hearing, cool. Well, then yeah, let me go, and also yeah, please approve me to bring my cameras so I can film some sick footage to use in a documentary in plain sight, the intelligence community and UFOs.
That's
And
good.
like, dude, I had to, like, whatever, give them all the kind of backstory on Dockside Media and
Mhm.
the other 3 documentaries we got picked up for distribution. So
Sure.
it was cool, and they're saying, yep, we're going to review it. Well, yeah, executive committee will review the info below and reach back. Should
And
they
you
have
just
any
got that
questions.
now. You just got it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
While we were talking about this, yep.
See, this is all manifesting here. This is all like, it's all about energies, man. It's all about like vibrations, energies, and you are a prime example of that, man. And I'm so glad that we met, because I feel like we are such kindred spirits that way, because you just go for it, and that's the thing. You people have got to understand, and if we could get over that part of the fear factor of asking, for something, or, trying something new, getting out of your comfort zone is where it's at. That's where the magic lies, right there. But unfortunately, hey, look, there's a lot of people that just don't want to go there. They're more complacent, and they don't feel as though they deserve it. And hey, look, I'm guilty of that too, man. There's sometimes that I'm like, and then I have to muster up the courage to say, oh, yeah, I am worth it. I have a voice. We've got some great stories we're telling, and let's go for it, and especially with this, this Beast of Bray Road video that we just did, and this follow-up was amazing, but I'm sure we'll get to that too. But yeah, it's like, if you never ask, the answer is always going to be no.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great segue into this. So not only have you had this passion for jazz music forever, and you were able to achieved some really awesome experiences that very few people have done, like play at the White House. And I see you guys are touring here down south, up in, up in the Northeast. You guys are going all over, so you're still going strong. But through this journey, you developed. Was the interest for paranormal and UFOs always there?
Oh yeah,
You've always
always,
been fascinated by that stuff.
always. I mean, I've had several experiences myself. But my father really, I mean, I was always growing up listening to his stories too. Of he went to a psychic back in the 70s. Now we're talking the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And the psychic had said to him, "You have a very blue aura around you, but your son has one even greater." And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. And I didn't really think of anything. I don't think of myself as like a psychic, you know. I don't go into these places like my teammate Dominic will go in and he'll feel these different, energies and stuff. I don't tend to do that. Maybe I haven't tapped into it yet, but that's what I kind of don't feel that. Very rarely will we be in an area that I'll be like, whoa, there's some kind of something going on here. But what we have caught on video is just like, I mean, it's incredible. But the interest was always there. And to be honest with you, what I wanted to do, and this was always a thought in my mind, like just like Scooby-Doo, man. It was like, I always wanted, since I had the band, we play all these wonderful concert halls, right? And without me even saying a word, everyone's always like, oh yeah, by the way, the place is haunted, Yeah. Most of the places that we play, there's a ghost story attached to them, right?
Huh.
Wherever we went. So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to have a show where we play these different great places and then we play the gig, get the standing ovation, everybody's having a great time, but then we go back at night, later that night, and we go investigate that place and find out what's going on. So now most of the guys in my group don't really want to have anything to do with that paranormal stuff. My drummer especially, he's like, I don't want to mess with those spirits, man.
Dude, the drummers are always the craziest. You think you'd be into it.
I know, man. But
I play drums, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh,
Speaks
cool.
for itself.
Cool, yeah, absolutely.
But so you keep going though with this story.
Yeah, so I just so I said, it would be great to have that kind of show idea. So it was in 2016, and it kind of like when you said your epiphany happened in 2016, about 6 years ago. This is the same thing with me. This is what happened. I had like this idea of I've seen all these paranormal shows out there, and I'm like, hell, I could do that. It doesn't look like there's anything difficult to it. They got a camera out there. They've got a team. I was watching the show called Mountain Monsters, and it was like, it's a great show, but it's like a lot of it's manufactured. Come on, let's be honest. It's manufactured monsters, but it's pure entertainment. It's great entertainment. The guys are those guys are awesome. I loved all those guys, man. It was great.
Right.
And I thought I want to do something like that. So at first, when we started doing the videos, I started out as Bucks County Paranormal Investigations, and we just rebranded to Eric Mintel Investigates because we just thought, look, we're going to be going out on the road. We're going to be going into other areas of the country. It would be good to broaden the horizons and kind of brand it with my name, which would be a lot, easier. So we started doing the videos, and they were like very tongue in cheek at the beginning. We were doing the mystery of the Bedminster Beast Man, which is Bedminster is where I live here in Pennsylvania. Okay. And so we were doing all kinds of different things. But then as we kept going on, I had the idea of, look, let's do some serious investigation, and let's make this like a paranormal tourism show where we're going into these places that have great history. And especially around here, there's places that have ties to history and a lot of paranormal history. And so that's what we did. And thankfully, most of the people were very open to doing that, And so we would go in, and then I just said, well, look, we got to figure out how to fund this. We got to figure out how we're going to make money at this. So I looked at it as, look, we're going to do videos for you people. They're going to be marketing videos. It's something that you can own after we're done. You could play it in-house. But then I wound up getting this TV show. It was called Eric Mintel Investigates through Princeton Television. And then Princeton Television then streams through Amazon, Roku, Apple, all these. So we have access to 100 million homes. So it's like a no-brainer for people to get on board and say, "Hey, this is a huge advertisement for us."
Yep.
And then when COVID happened, we were thriving with video because the thought process there was, look, once everything opens up again, people are going to want to come out and check these places out. So it was, so that's what he started doing. So I started in 2016 with Bucks County Paranormal, and we did Eric Mintel Investigates now. But then in 2017 on, we've been doing a lot of different videos and more serious investigation on, ghosts, Bigfoot, the Beast of Bray Road, Dogman, the UFO phenomena was phenomenal. Then as this progresses, right now you're talking about manifesting. 2008, I loved UFO Hunters.
Okay.
That show. Remember that show that was on? Do you remember that?
I honestly didn't. No, I don't recall it. I didn't watch it.
It was a great show, UFO Hunters, and it's on YouTube now. Bill Burns was the main guy, right? Bill Burns. Turns out Bill Burns is my next door neighbor. He lives right down the freaking street from me.
No way.
Yeah. So I said, I saw him in this coffee shop, and I'm like, Bill, and we started talking, and I told him what I was doing, and then maybe about a month later, he gave me his number and everything, and I called him. I said, hey, Bill, I want to do a video. There's a guy in New Jersey that just contacted me about these 3 separate UFO sightings that happened in 1950, 1970, and 2002 in Monmouth, New Jersey. He's got evidence. He's got video evidence. He's got stuff that's been written down about it. I said, you want to do a video on this? He's like, oh, yeah, sure. So Bill was with me on this. We did New Jersey's Roswell, the Monmouth UFO sightings. And it was amazing, man. I mean, just having Bill, and Bill is like a wealth of knowledge. So,
oh, I bet.
I mean, the man knows everything there is to know. He used to work for the DOJ. So he was
okay.
So he was in the White House, and he was trying to get us into the White House to do a ghost investigation. We were going to investigate the Lincoln bedroom, but and I'm still, and the White House, I still want to go back and perform there, but I'm waiting for another year or so until things kind of calm down a little bit. But anyway, so we did this video together, and it's wild how all of these different things started happening. And then all the way up to now, this coming weekend, I'm speaking at the MUFON conference in Langhorne. And thank you, man. And Travis Walton's going to be there.
Oh, wow.
Nick Pope. I mean, all these guys, man, that we all know from Ancient Aliens. We see these guys all the time. Yep. So it's amazing how it just keeps going up to the next level, and it's just because but it's also a hustle. It's also the hustle never ends, I mean, that we both are. No. We both.
I love the effort and the hustle that you put into it, man. But that's what makes it happen, bro. Like, the world is built or innovated by the doers, man. The people that go do it, and it's like, I don't know. I've seen people be very fortuitous in their life, and they weren't necessarily even the brightest, right, or the best.
Yeah.
But they tried and they put themselves out there, right? And I love what you said earlier about, okay, when you started getting into this paranormal stuff, you're like, okay, how can we monetize this? How can we make money? And bro, like that, there is no shame in that. I love that. There's some people who out there who are haters and be like, oh, those people are trying to make money. It's like, yo, bro, I grew up being raised being told, like, dude, if you do something that you love and enjoy, then you'll never work a day in your life, and that you can get paid for something that you enjoy. Like, it seems like society, a lot of society is, I don't want to say brainwashed, but it's very acceptable to just like, when you're younger, have these goals and dreams, but as you sometime between graduating high school and going to college or going into the workforce, whatever it may be, it's just like, I gotta just make enough money to be able, to provide housing, clothes, shelter, and I love that you have that desire and energy to be like, yo, man, let let me make money doing something that I enjoy and that I'm good at. And dude, kudos to you. I love this being a self-taught musician as well as, a self-taught filmmaker. And with
Absolutely.
what you've done, it like if people really dig into it, it's like, oh, dude, you've achieved quite a few things. Like you're doing like writing, directing, acting because you're on camera. You're doing like audio engineer. You're recording audio,
It's just,
cinematographer.
it's
So,
exhausting, but it's good.
but it's good. But it's something that's like, oh, dude, it's just proof in the pudding. Like anything else, if you put the time and effort into something, dude, I'll bet dollars to donuts you get better at it over time if
Oh,
you keep
absolutely.
doing it.
Yeah,
Period.
absolutely. I think
And I
you're
love that you don't limit yourself of how high you can go. It's like, oh, dude, I'm gonna keep going and keep thinking positive thoughts that, dude, I can reach, 7.5 billion people in the world. Or I think there's like, I don't know if it's at like 2 billion English speaking, like even
yeah,
as English as a second language, but there's like 2 billion people that speak English. Dude, that's a massive market. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Massive. If only
Absolutely.
one out of every 1,000 people dig what you're doing, that's 2 million people. If I'm doing my math
Yeah,
correct,
absolutely.
that's
You're
two
smart.
million people. Dude,
Very smart.
that's a boatload of people who would love your content. And here's what's up: I think we're better than batting 1 out of 1,000.
Oh,
Like
hell
we
yeah.
are.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So the name
Absolutely.
of the game is right. We need to just keep generating that momentum and marketing ourselves. And like you said, dude, it is a lot of it's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of work,
It is,
but
but
it's worth it because
yeah,
your pages,
yeah.
dude, they're in the thousands of likes, right?
Oh,
Most of
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we'll put a video out, and it's thousands of people right away. We get thousands of viewers. In one day we'll get over 1,000 views, just because it's like it's interesting. I try to keep it interesting. I keep the humor in there because I really think humor is key to a lot of this because yes, we're serious, but we got to keep it like a little bit on the humor side, not too humorous though, but what you said about not shame in making money, and you're right. I mean, it's like I I did have a problem with that early on. I'm like, how, I don't want to be like that person. But then I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute. We're giving these people, they're on my TV show. They've got all of this access to all of these avenues of exposure.
yeah,
And why not? So, and that's where people are like, oh, yeah, I go into a restaurant right up the street here to do a video. I didn't even have to sell the guy. I love working with forward thinking people because
mm,
he knew the value of what we were going to do was already there. So he had no problem writing a check. It was great. And then I'll get sponsors for the show. I'm doing commercials too for these people. I'm doing a 30-second commercial, and it's like, dude, that's like a lot of work. I mean, that's a lot of exposure for somebody for next to nothing as far as a sponsorship goes. But that's all part of it, and that's what keeps the roof over the house.
yeah,
And it keeps the machine going, because I think that's one of the things that artists have a real problem with is their self-worth. What are they worth? I stopped doing those $100 a man gigs, for the
yeah.
quartet. I mean, I just couldn't do it anymore. And the guys got pissed off at me, but I'm like, sorry, we've got to hold ourselves at a higher level, or else we're never going to go higher. We're going to always be that $100 a guy gig, and it's just, I can't do that anymore. It's a big schlep to get there. Then you got to play for 3 hours. And that's why I don't do any of the bars or anything like that. Now it's like an hour and a half. We get a huge chunk of money, get in, get out, and make people happy, and that's another thing. We've made a lot of friends and fans up and down the Eastern Seaboard and all over the country, but it's monetizing this is the key to being able to do this. Now, then once you get to that point, It's like having a booking agent, right? They want to be able to know that you've got all this work so they don't have to do the work. I've had a handful of people over the years that have wanted to book my group, but if I waited for them to book me gigs, I'd be dead, man, because
Right.
they wouldn't do it. They don't have what it takes to do that, and it takes, like you said, it takes that certain individual. Now, what you guys are doing, I love what you guys are. Your documentaries are so like stellar, man. I mean, they are really beautifully shot. You really take pride into what you're doing. I mean, it's obviously apparent. And I love how you're self-taught. I mean, it's amazing, man. I mean, that's like what you're doing looks like Hollywood production stuff, and this is how we learn. This is how we learn from each other, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's always a good thing because this community is so small, and it's not like a competition type thing. If we can all make each other better, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, man, it's been a fun ride, and yeah, I love it. And I remember just saying, man, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, I was just like, oh man, maybe 5. Like probably, I was probably crazy enough. It was less than a year after I started, still shooting on the cell phone, and I'm like, oh dude, no, I'm bringing Hollywood to Lancaster, man. I don't need to go to Hollywood. We can, actually no, uh, yeah, it might have been a year after I started because I did get the gimbal and the camera, and like the first wedding I shot with that, I'm like, this is epic, dude. This stuff looks so tasty, and so yeah, it's crazy that
Yeah.
man, Chris Rupert and I with Dockside Media have been able to put out just really like polished looking content, and we feel like it keeps getting better between Conscious Contact Full Disclosure, which was our first release, to The Ghost of Gettysburg. We feel like image wise looks better cinematography.
Like
We got
everything
lights available for that, so that helps. And then Secrets of the Sasquatch, and that's coming out July 5th. That's on 1091 Pictures website. So we got the date for that. And excuse me, now In Plain Sight, the intelligence community and UFOs.
That's going to be
Yeah,
awesome.
Chris will have this hopefully, 3-4 weeks it'll be done.
Which I had the pleasure of being in, which was awesome.
You did, and that's how we first met.
I know.
Which,
And it was only like a few weeks ago, man. It was just like incredible. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
wild.
It
Do we have time to go into a couple of the investigations that we were on?
Oh yeah, man, we do. I run this. Yeah, this will go for
Oh, cool.
whatever until we start getting redundant or boring or something. But yeah, we can go like an hour and a half. Or
I don't think I told you about the Beast of Bray Road investigation the first time we were there, did I?
I don't believe so. No.
Oh, well,
Fill
just
me in.
for your listeners and for you guys. So this is the first time that we actually really did a cryptid investigation, where we were investigating this the Beast of Bray Road. Now, the Beast of Bray Road is in Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And what it is, Bray Road is a road in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, where this creature has been seen. People have been seeing this thing. It's supposed to be an upright canine, a walking bipedal, walking on 2 legs, a canine werewolf-like creature, right?
Wow. Okay.
That's eating roadkill with its hands. That people have been seeing this thing for years. An author by the name of Linda Godfrey made this thing famous in the 1990s, like around the early 90s, because people were seeing this thing all the time from as far back as the 30s. There was a big expanse of time that people didn't say anything about it because they didn't want to get ridiculed and they didn't want to, say anything. But it was still happening. People were still seeing this thing. And so we went out there, and one of our fans basically just, paid our whole freight to go out there. She flew us out. She paid for the editing and the whole thing because she wanted to do this video and she thought it would be a good video to do. And I had heard of the Beast of Bray Road, but I didn't know anything too much about it. So we get out there, and prior to this, I had seen Lee Hampel, who was on the Travel Channel, and they had done a piece on him on this show called, I think it was Paranormal Declassified, and they were on Lee's farm. And like I saw the White House picture, the White House commercial, when I saw Lee on there, I said, man, I'm gonna call this guy. I'm gonna call this guy and see if we can come out there and get on his farm and see if we can get out there and investigate. Man, I called him that night, and we were on the phone for like 2 hours. The guy is awesome. I mean, he's so down to earth, and you could hear the frustration in his voice because he wants this thing talked about. So we went out there, met the guy, great guy, and he's showing us pictures of this. He's got thousands of pictures on trail cam, videos, weird lights in the woods of these UFOs in the woods. He has tracks in the snow, right? That tracks of this thing that go from one set of tracks, just one, then it morphs off and divides into two. And it's just the weirdest thing how it's just in one line and then it goes into two. He's got hair samples where the hair is translucent. There's no medulla in the hair. Under the microscope, you could see it in these microscope pictures. So we have the feeling that could this thing be cloaking itself? Because on his trail cam, he's got pictures where there's this weird mist that happens. And he's on one of the trail cams. He was putting a roadkill deer in this bait area to try to attract it. Okay. And you could see this mist come around Lee, and it was completely covering his body, right? And then the next picture was gone. It was completely gone. He has a picture that is so chilling, man. So you see this mist, right? And all this, and you see the roadkill deer, and this mist comes over the deer. In the next picture, the mist is gone, and so's the deer. And and that's a 30-second picture. It's 30 seconds between pictures, and the thing was gone. So this is a scary thing, man. So I'm going out. So we go out there, right? And I'm thinking, man, we're going to hear some great stories from people. We're going to do this documentary, not thinking we actually ran into this creature. The night of October 3rd, we did the investigation on Lee's farm. Earlier in the day, I had put steak bones down in the area by the bait area. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, was putting steak bones in that area a good or bad idea? Well, it was probably a good idea because I'll tell you what, we had a trifecta of paranormal activity that night. First off, it started off by Dominic going, "What the hell is that?" And we look up. There was a solid orb of light, like a UFO going over the field. It was a solid orb. You could see other planes, right? You could see planes. Yeah. This was a solid orb, and you could see it all on my video. It's like it goes over the field. It does a 45-degree angle and disappears. And we got it all on video, man. It was like incredible. So right after that happened, we hear this howl in the distance. Dominic and I are looking at each other like, what the hell is that? Then we hear one closer. And then he goes to Ellen, who was with us, and he goes, "Are you hearing this?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's over there." And with that, we hear this howl that was the most ungodly thing you want to hear. It was not a wolf. It wasn't a coyote. It wasn't a dog. It wasn't a fox or anything, an owl, nothing like that. It actually sounded like a man screaming in the field. It was this low, guttural scream, growl, yell type thing. Well, with that, it changed my whole perspective on what was going on. I said, oh shit, we are in serious trouble here. So, and we had no protection. We had a freaking flashlight and a radio, and that was it. So we had no protection. So this thing's coming toward us, and we could hear rustling sounds going on behind us because the corn was up at that time, and there was no wind. So it was dead calm. Well, you could hear this rustling going on behind us. And then I'm like, oh man. So we stayed out there for like another 10 minutes. We turned around, we took the light over to the cornfield where we heard the howl. Man, you could see eye shine of this thing. It was the lights were, and you could see it going like this, like darting back and forth, like it was stalking us. So this was back in October. So I said, guys, I'm not getting a good feeling here, man. We got to get the hell out of here. So we had 4-wheelers that Lee let us use. We hopped on those and beat feet out of there, man. We went back to the barn. But before that happened, though, I got to say, this weird mist happened, man. It was the weirdest thing. This mist started coming up in the field, and it started cutting out all of our electronic stuff. So my lavalier, my wireless mics were cutting in and out. And it wasn't like we were a distance apart. We were close. So that it was there. It was able to read that. So we had that happen. And then this weird mist came up. Now, later on, I'm hearing that Bigfoot reports also accompany this mist, or this mist accompanies Bigfoot reports. So this was something that we were like totally unaware of, but it happened and it was right there. We got it all on video. So we got a trifecta. Then later that night, the entire town of Elkhorn goes out of power. It was it was freaking whacked, man. So it was crazy what happened that night. So we hit the lottery when it came to the paranormal activity out there. And then we're still wrapping our heads around. I'm still getting chills just thinking about what we heard out there, because it was, dude, I kid you not. It was the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Man, that's some spooky stuff right
there.
And
it was pitch black, man. And you could see we had the night vision on and stuff, but you couldn't see it, but you could see the eye shine, but you could definitely hear it. And you know what those Cinco mics are, right? They're like really like very small mics. They're small microphones. It was that loud to pick it up with that. We didn't have any kind of big parabolic mic or anything like that.
Right.
It was that loud to pick it up by that little mic. So it was, it was amazing. So then the following week, another buddy of mine who you probably might want to have on as a guest too, his name is Eric Spinner. He's a great Bigfoot researcher in New Jersey. Great guy. We did an investigation of Bigfoot in the Pine Barrens. And in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, there's an area called the Bowl in the Pine Barrens where it kind of goes down. It's like it's lower and it's higher up on the sides, right? Okay. Yeah. So we went in 5 miles, and again, not thinking we're going to run into anything. We went 5 miles by truck into the Pine Barrens, and if you've ever been down there, man, it's desolate. I mean, there's nothing there. It's just nothing but woods. But you're down these fire roads, where the fire trucks, if there's ever a fire, they can go down there. So we went down there and we got 5 miles in, got out of the truck. We went about 600 yards into the woods and set up base camp, right? So we're sitting there and I'm talking to Art, it was another researcher, and Eric, we're talking to them about, and Dominic was with me. And we're talking about, their techniques to how do they do this? What's their research like? He's talking about when they bang hit trees and tree knocks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, whenever I see those shows and people banging on the trees, I'm always thinking to myself, come on, really? Is that really going to happen? Right. So we're talking to Art, and all of a sudden we hear this whoop in the woods behind us. And I'll be damned if it's not the same kind of sound that you hear on a lot of these programs. And keep in mind, there's nobody there. There's no houses. There's no one there.
Right.
So with that, the researcher's wife starts answering it back. And she goes, whoop. And it goes, whoop. And they had this conversation going back and forth for 5 minutes. It was the most bizarre thing, man. And then we heard some huge rustling, like something was running through the woods. And we think, so what the idea is there's a lot of juvenile Bigfoot sightings. He's got a lot of juvenile footprints that he's casted of this thing. So what we're thinking is that was maybe a juvenile making that sound. And the big rustling we heard was this other, was the mama coming toward it to try to get it. As it was, and then we're doing the whoops, and you could hear it going out of the area. It was getting lighter, fainter and fainter. But we kept hearing weird howls all night. We kept hearing really crazy, cracking of the branches and stuff behind us. So we stayed out there till about maybe 10 o'clock, and then we got out of there. But it was, that's another good video, man. It was just really cool. And I always say that Dominic is a spirit medium. Right. So I'm thinking that he's got some kind of connection to these things, because it seems like whenever we do a video and Dominic's on board, all of this, we get this evidence right on camera all the time. We just did a video in Cheney Hall up in New Hampshire, up in Connecticut. He's down in the dressing room. I'm up on the catwalk looking for the shadow woman that was reported up there. He's down in the dressing room and he's doing an EVP session, and he's asking, is anyone here? Show me a sign. And as he says, show me a sign, this, you could hear knocking like that on the wall. You could see his reaction. It scared the shit out of him. He was just scared shitless. And you could see this was not anything. And I was upstairs, so the camera guy's on him. And you could see the camera guy flinch a little bit too. And it turns out that somebody else had the same thing happen to them at the theater. So this is something we're looking into as well. I showed the director that piece of footage, man. He was like, oh my God, he was freaked out. He's like, I'm not surprised because I've heard that similar sound here. And it wasn't, and this is like not a bird. It wasn't anything like that. We were down like in a basement area, where the dressing rooms are. Crazy stuff, man.
Dude, that's insane. So Dominic, has he always been a medium or sensitive? Like, what's his story?
It's funny because you and Chris remind me of me and Dominic because we went to high school together, and Dominic and I used to practice martial arts together. So we did, karate, taekwondo, all that stuff together. And then of course, life gets in the way. I got married once, and then I got married again. And then I got divorced. So, I've been there twice, but life gets in the way. But he came back in 2017, I think, or 2017. And we reconnected again, man. And then he come to find out, he tells me he's a medium. I said, why didn't you tell me this before, man? And I'm like, this is crazy. So he started doing videos. Now he's part of the team. And and it was great. So he's been on the team, and I do have to say though, I found a great lady now, man. We've been together 11 years, man. It's just been like heaven, man. It's like I got rid of all that drama and don't need it. And my daughter and I are awesome. We have a great relationship, and my God, she's 20 now too, man. It's like unbelievable. 20 years old already. Where does the time go? I know, right? So it's that's the other thing when you're, I guess, working on your passions and you've got this thing that's greater than you that you're trying to go for, there's going to be some people that just will try to knock you down, man, and not want you to go for it. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And, so it was, so now it's like, I'm just going for it,
Yep.
So.
Nah. And that's what, dude, no, that's what makes it happen. And dude, cause I just always fall back on, bro, the world is so diverse, man. Just 50% are just probably not going to be interested in what you're doing. And then a subset of that just happens to subset is vocally negative. So it's like, oh, dude, I just don't even take it personally. I really don't. Chris, Rupert, sometimes and I just try and talk him out of that. I'm like, dog, think about how many things you really like or really enjoy. Like movies, he's really into horror and that kind of stuff. Like think about how many ones you really like. And then think about how many times you've actually given it a review on Amazon after watching. Like, bro, 0. And you are really into that stuff. So like, it's just sometimes the positive encouragement and stuff like that, it doesn't, the positive encouragement doesn't speak of the devil, and he
Chris
shall
Rupert has
appear.
appeared.
We were just talking, Chris, about
it's called being fashionably late, guys.
Hey, listen, we're gonna have to do another hour now, man.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep this thing running.
Keep it rolling, baby.
But we were talking about how Eric, just all the cool things he's been able to achieve, and one of the reasons for that is just not playing into the negativity, because there's always somebody out there that's negative.
Yeah.
And they just happen to typically be more prone to say negative stuff. But Eric, where I was going was it's cool.
Or what
and I'm just saying I always try and give you pep talks to be like, dog, don't even worry about what that knucklehead said.
Exactly.
It's one person's opinion, man. The world's super, super big. So, but I love, dude, like once in a while, I'll get a message out of nowhere or whatever from somebody who it turns out they had been watching my content for years or whatever, right? And I would have never known based on, they're never hitting the like button. You know, they're never commenting. But I'm like, Chris, there's a lot of people out there who really, really enjoy the content you are producing, and have for a long time, and they don't give likes and comments and thumbs ups. They're just hard to get. So keep going anyways.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're having a positive effect on people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back to the music aspect of this, we did a, down in DC again, in Washington, we were at XM Satellite Studios performance studio. I got invited to perform down there, and we did a radio performance down there. But prior to this, I had sent, we had gotten, and here's another manifestation thing. I got an opportunity to perform on QVC, believe it or not, and I had a 3 CD box set that we were selling on QVC, right? So check this out, man. This is like, you have 8 minutes on QVC. You've got, so 4 of those minutes were to play the tune, 2 minutes to sell it, to talk to the audience and sell it. And then you've got another 2 minutes to play out, right? To play that next song out. So within that time frame, we sold it wasn't a lot, but we sold 600 units in like that time frame at like $29.99. So it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't the 2,000 that they wanted us to sell, but still, I had a lot left over that I wound up selling later on gigs and whatnot. But the opportunity was incredible. So instead of being, deflated about it, I was happy with it. I was happy with the result. But again, all those, so XM, so this, on this CD box set, they had been playing my music, and they had played a tune of mine called 4 on the Floor. And apparently I got an email from a guy who said, and we're talking about what we just talked about with content, that he had to stop on this. He had to pull his car over on the side of the road. Him and his son were in the car listening to this tune. They were blown away by it, and they had to find out who the hell it was, So he contacted the station. The station then gave him my email. He contacted me, and I talked to him, and it was great, and he was like, he bought every single CD that I had. This guy was like in it, right? And then his son started his own jazz band. And it was like, dude, if you inspire one person, right? That's what it's all about. One, I don't care if there's 1 or 1 million people out in the audience, if you're inspiring that one person, that's what it's all about to me. And that was cool on that end of it. And then today, I just got a message, just like you said. The guy's watching our videos all the time. He's like, you got a real fan here. So you don't know where it's coming from. You've got a lot of, there's people that are, in the closet paranormal guys that, they may not publicly like it, but they love it, privately. But yeah, it's amazing, man. I mean, it's like, you just got to keep putting the content out there, and then not worry about what people are thinking. Because who cares? Who cares what they think?
There was a saying, and I'm going to butcher it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of, it was like encouragement for when you're doing these YouTube shows and stuff like that, where it takes a really long time to build an audience. But it's like, some people get lucky or whatever, but like, if you were consistently putting out stuff, you're improving your content. So when the opportunity does eventually come for you, you can capitalize on it. It's hard though. Like, it is hard to keep pushing through all the time without getting that feedback, right? Like, have you gone a while where you've made stuff and you're like, oh, nobody really commented on it, I must not been good, or like,
yeah, I mean, I have to say though, no. Wow. I mean, well, the thing is, if there's those things that happen, like only things that maybe if I find something funny or something on YouTube or something, I'll post it, and I don't get any likes on it, I just take it off there. But no, with our stuff, the thing is, me as a jazz musician I've got a great audience that way, thankfully, that have followed me over into the paranormal world, and like I was just telling Tyler, Chris, like when I'll talk to my jazz audience about, music that I've written, they'll half-heartedly they'll half-heartedly listen about it, right? Or listen to what I'm saying. But the minute I say, oh, by the way, I have a paranormal TV show and we investigate historical, people are like, you could hear a pin drop, So, the paranormal people love this genre, man. So when we put a video out, I think, yeah, sometimes I'm like doing this MUFON talk this week. So it hasn't been a lot of likes on that. There's been some comments on it. There hasn't been a ton of likes on that yet. It takes people, a little bit to get there. But it's funny, if I put out something like, something else, man, I'll get, I just had a cheese sandwich today. And I'll get 100 likes, or something. Some crazy
with that cheese sandwich content. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Dude, that's insane. Real quick on that, my son got me watching, it's called Brainchild. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it?
My daughter watches it over and over again.
Dude, that's crazy.
Maybe
but I see it was
150 times. Yeah.
So, but it was made in like 2017, I think, is what the timestamp. Oh, we just lost Chris.
Chris is done.
Bummer. I did not boot him. He dropped.
He's coming. He'll come back.
It's a. Oh, here he is.
Damn.
I did not boot you.
I don't know what I did there.
You just dropped.
Hi, Chris.
But
sorry. Hey guys.
Hey, how are you, man?
Happy to be
like
here.
I watched the first episode with my son last night, and it was doing some different experiments or polls and stuff about like posting a picture and what the caption was, and what these teenagers, how they responded, whether it was negative and like just really cool things. And I was like, dude, this is really cool.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. So it was done 5 years ago, and I'm looking at the metrics and the different types of posts, whether like for one, here's what's up. They said showed whether or not you do a post that is a like a humble brag, right? Where you try and be humble, but saying you did something good, that's a good achievement, versus just being confident or even maybe overconfident, self-confident. We're just posting, yo, I got this A+, man. Or, I was top of the class, right? And the post performed better when the people were just honest and confident versus the ones that humble brag. The humble brags were viewed as like,
wishy-washy.
Yeah, just whatever. It was a very interesting thing, and it's like, whatever. I'm gonna finish watching this series with my son because I feel like I'm gonna learn quite a bit
cool
about.
Show.
Have you seen it, Chris? Have you incorporated that stuff? Like, it's interesting.
I've watched probably almost all of those episodes, and I think all of them are really interesting. No, it's a cool show, and I wish there was more stuff like that, what you're talking about, where they do those tests of social media and how audiences like, I'm sure if you get into like deep marketing subjects and stuff like that, there is classes on that stuff, but the way they present it, because it's meant for kids and stuff too, it was actually like still entertaining.
It's the other thing too is like the attention span of people. Mm-hmm. It's like I had done a video for Visit Bucks County through Bob Christ, was and he's a National Geographic photographer, filmmaker, and he's living up in Maine now. Great guy, and I mean this was a 5-minute video, and I was like the spokesman, like holding the lantern, going into all these different areas, and it really did well, and it was nice. It was a 5-minute video, but his idea was like, you don't want to do any more than that. And I said, well, I really can't do that. I mean, if I'm going to tell a story and we're going to be like a reality TV show. Mm-hmm. It's got to be at least a half hour, and but I'll tell you what, when I do a Facebook premiere of one of our videos, I make sure that I'm right there with everybody. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Kind of like engaging people to watch it with you and ask questions. Where's everybody from? What's, let us know what you think about this. Because I think even with my jazz, like I said before, it's kind of like I bring the audience into what we're doing, the creative process. Because I always say to the audience, the audience is going to be there. They're like unique to that time and place, because jazz, you're never going to hear those same improvisations again. So that performance is unique to this particular place and time. And by the way, audience, you're a part of that, and you're part of that creative process. So once you get people involved that way and they can feel like they're part of that process, then they're going to want to follow you on what you're doing. And then this has just been trial and error with me, man. I'm just like still just getting out there and, engaging people, being confident. That's the other thing, just being confident. we've got great content. I mean, you guys too. I mean, what you guys, like I just said to Tyler, Chris, you guys are putting out incredible content. The stuff is shot beautifully. It's edited beautifully. So it's all a matter of time. It's just time. It's like with anything else, you got to build it from the ground up. This is all your baby. So and like us too, we're building it from the ground up because we don't have anybody else behind us helping us,
Right.
Not yet anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Not yet, But there's the other thing too, it's the control factor. We have to also let some control go. And that's hard because, this is your baby. You don't want, like I was saying before, like trying to get people to book my band. It was like, I just let them do what they did and we never wound up getting any gigs, It's tough because your heart is in it. You guys share a heart together, whether you know it or not, and that's a beautiful situation to be in. Same thing. When you find people like that, you got to really stay tight, man, because there will be a lot of things that'll happen. I'm glad that Dominic's with me on the team. And, my other buddy, Dave, that little funny video I sent you earlier today, that was Dave.
Yeah.
He's usually with me in these things, but it's like, when you find people that are like-minded like that, then our job's a lot easier, and then we can get out, and then it becomes this blossoming organic thing where it just takes on a life of its own. And like you said before, who cares? Just do it. Just make it happen. Who cares what they say? And eventually we'll get there. It's like but we always have to have those goals. We've always got to get that mindset every day, like, I want to hit this particular goal that week or this day, and I mean, God, with every social media thing that's out there, man, I mean, it should be so easy, right? But it's like, it's not. It's like, it's always still a hustle.
The weird thing about what we do with Dockside Media compared to like just normal YouTube shows and stuff is that it's such a delayed reaction you get to the content, because like we made Conscious Contact and it was done in November of last year, but didn't come out till last month. So it was like sitting there for months, you know what I mean? But in that time we were already working on all this other stuff. So it's weird because like I can make a YouTube video that I'll put out tomorrow and I'll live with it for a day or two or three before moving on to the next thing.
Then why was it sitting there for all that time? Were you just waiting for somebody to pick it up, or?
Well, distribution process. For one, we were waiting to get distribution, but now that we have distribution with 1091, there's still like 90 days or 75 days or something, even after we give them deliverables.
Right.
Because like we gave them everything for Secrets of the Sasquatch, but there is a ramp up period, a marketing period potentially, and all that kind of stuff when you have a release date in mind. So it's just something that for me is different because I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. And that's immediate. Like you can set premieres, you know what I mean? Like you can do a premiere, I'm going to premiere. But it's not the same as like a movie rollout.
I mean, talk about TV too, man. It's like when you're doing TV, you'll shoot the television show, but it's not going to come out for a year, You got a whole year or a year and a half before it comes out. So it's like, it's like hurry up and wait, And I don't know about you guys, but I'm impatient, man. I'm like, I want it now,
That's the thing, though. Like, you edit a YouTube video, you're like all excited about it because you're still in the moment. But this movie, like, I was excited about it, and then I sat and moved on with my life and did other things, waiting for it to come out. Do you know what I mean? So my relationship with it feels different than at the moment it was finished.
Yeah, I get it. It's like a real personal thing. Absolutely, man. I totally get that. And this is where
that's one of the good things about Dockside Media is that, dude, like, we didn't make Conscious Contact full disclosure and then, like wait till it came out to release to like start making the next one. Dude, we started shooting The Ghost of Gettysburg while filming Conscious Contact full disclosure.
That's great. Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
We started filming Secrets of the Sasquatch while still filming. I guess we had all The Ghost of Gettysburg done. But we started filming In Plain Sight, I think.
Same time.
In there as well. And like, we just kept moving, and we're working on locking down a date to go and do this camp out, at this haunted cemetery.
That's pretty cool.
The Ghost Town Pandemonium. So Chris and I will have a flyer coming out here soon. So anybody out there watching, follow Dockside Media. I'll share it to TT Productions page as well. But if you want to be involved, in one of our documentaries coming up called Ghosts in the Graveyard, enter or engage with the post, hit us up, and join us on this camp out. It'll be sick, man. We're gonna have
That'd
a
be
lot of
wild.
fun. And back to something there, Chris and Eric mentioned earlier about the short attention span of the audience. And so I think that's one of the cool things Dockside Media we've been able to do as well is running these 3 camera setups. We're 2 on a tripod, 1 on a gimbal, and it just allows Chris in post when editing a lot of freedom to not sit on the same frame, the same camera angle for too long, because sometimes, unless it's like a real powerful statement and a real good storyteller, it's hard to keep somebody engaged looking at just the same camera angle for a long time. Like, it needs to be. And even then, if you watch any type of like movies or cinema, even then, if it's a long stagnant camera angle, the same angle, typically they're still doing a slow dynamic zoom in. It's not even sitting there, and like the subconscious notice, there's just this hair of movement, because I guess I don't know what the like mechanism is behind it. Maybe it's well, I don't know, because there is a group of individuals who love to go to plays, right? And when you're watching a play, you're sitting at the same angle,
it's a live
watching the
thing,
same
though.
scene.
That's true.
But somehow it doesn't translate to like movies, cinema. I don't know, for whatever reason.
I mean, Alfred Hitchcock was just a prime example of that. I mean, you've got all those long shots that he did, but they were all like just. I mean, look at his film Frenzy. If you ever see that, the killer, takes her into the room, but yet they pan back from the doorway all the way down the stairs, and it just makes such an incredible statement. What's going on up there, and with the birds, and so there's a lot of like things that way. I think it's just we as individuals. I think it's the idea that everyone is moving so fast. That's why we have to have that movement, because they feel like people want that instant gratification. It's
I mean, documentary filmmaking is definitely different than narrative filmmaking, because like you could make very specific choices with the camera when you're doing narrative filmmaking, because you're manipulating the audience in some ways, or you're setting up tension. Like if you have a shot that just sits there and the audience is anticipating something happening, like it can be really effective even though nothing's happening. But with documentary filmmaking, where there's like talking heads specifically, I think can bore an audience really quickly.
You could lose viewers if there's that thing. You don't want to get too like technical. We were talking about that with this Beast of Bray Road video. Like we want to come to it from the scientific side, but you don't want to sit there and go, well, by the way, this could also be. Then it would be like people are gonna tune out. That's why I try to keep it in that
snappy
reality TV show type thing, where it's going to be like quick, and have a lot of movement that way, and it moves fast. Even though it's 27 minutes, it keeps your attention through that 27 minutes. And thank God the people that I had in it, like the Lee Hample and his brother Fred, they were great on camera, and they could talk and just be real quick.
Certainly helps for sure.
It makes life a lot easier.
If you have people who are like, oh my God. I mean, it's not easy to get on camera and be confident. Like it's a skill. Some people need to practice. Other people can do it right away. But it's totally like that. And you got to keep it moving. And I was just going to say something. Oh, do you guys ever feel like sometimes you want to come at it like from some different angles sometimes, rather than, and I don't mean this, like I notice a lot of not yours, but I noticed a lot of documentaries that they use kind of like the same formula half the time, like drone shots, slow motion. Is that the formula, or is that just something that you guys like? I mean, I like that, but I'm just saying, is there another angle? Have you ever explored in that as well? I think that's completely fair, because that's kind of like what we are doing. And I mean, I've talked to Tyler about this too. I mentioned like I don't want the format to become stagnant because it would be easy to template the stuff. I mean, ultimately, I got to think of it from a couple different angles. Because, like, if there's an audience who's, like, consuming this content just of ours, like, over this period of a short time, they'll notice, like, oh, these are kind of similar in the way they're made, right? But I don't think that's the majority of the audience. I think,
No.
it's going to be a random one-off person who's probably going to stumble upon the movie in some way. So ultimately, to me, it doesn't matter as long as the final product is interesting and entertaining.
Yeah, oh yeah,
But
absolutely.
from a creative standpoint, it gets boring doing the same thing over and over again without changing and improving and experimenting. So
Well, that's how you get. Yeah, I think that's
something we're going to keep in mind. But there is also a challenge to that insofar as, like, the movies center around people's stories, right? So, like, either you show them in their talking head way, or you use narration and kind of reimagine their stories, which are all these things have been done before in documentaries as well. So I'm not sure. I think we're trying to find our own voice through our stuff, and we'll keep experimenting.
And you definitely are, man, because the way you guys have this eye for this is a lot different than what I've seen before. I mean, I just, there are some people that I know that they use the same kind of formula, but that's fine. I mean, because it looks beautiful. But yeah, you're right. You want to do stuff that you're going to be like, I mean, and that's the other thing. It's the content. It's the stories that you're telling. They're always going to be different. They're not going to be the same. That's the whole thing. And then you're going to have all these different people that you're meeting along the way. They're characters in their own right, and the way your energy, like you and Chris and Tyler, the way you guys work together is great. I mean, that's a great team, and this is what sets you apart from someone else they don't have that hustle, and this is why you're making things happen. We're making things happen. So it's great. Like I said to Tyler earlier, Chris, I said, it's like you and Tyler remind me of me and Dom, because we both went to school. We went to high school together, and Dom came into this with me back in 2017, which I didn't know he was a spirit medium back in the day. We were practicing martial arts and kicking each other's ass. So, so it was, it's wild, man. And just to be here and how we all connected, it's just this manifestation of it was meant to be,
Yeah,
for sure.
I think with your content and our content, you can quickly see the improvements and the iterations, because the content we make is fast. Like, yeah, we are doing feature-length documentaries, and they're definitely slower than your shows. But, like, most documentaries are a way bigger crew coming together to make something that's going to take like a year and a half to get finally out the door.
Exactly.
We're doing these like every 2 or 3 months. So you'll quickly see the progression and evolution of our content.
Oh,
the
man.
Same thing with your show. Right?
Absolutely. We just keep the whole goal is you just try to get better every day,
Yeah.
and surround yourself with creative people. That's the main thing, and that's another reason why I'm glad we connected, because you guys are like so creative and so artistic in your creativity, and so passionate about it. That's the other thing. You're, like I said, you share a heart, and this heart is Dockside Media, and that's what's going to set you apart, man. So that's just you. Now you can never separate now.
Nah, dude, I would
Sorry,
love to
Tyler.
be a Siamese twin with Chris. I would absolutely
Tyler,
love
I
it,
brought
dude.
a lot of cholesterol to this.
I want
heart.
shared.
I'm very
I want
sensitive.
shared at the hips and rib cage, sharing the same heart. Two
There you
separate
go.
brains, two separate
one,
penises.
One overweight side and one that's been smoking.
Make sure
way
that's
too long.
separate, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. I'll blow the smoke this way. I won't blow it your way. But yo, going back to the formula thing, yeah, dude, I love. I think to our credit, and Chris has brought this up a number of times, is neither of us really watch any alien or paranormal documentaries. We just don't.
Right.
So we came at this with just kind of what felt right in our hearts, and it's been really fun and awesome to keep growing and adding new things. As far as like when I just went down to Washington D.C. here earlier this week and filmed some B-roll for In Plain Sight, the intelligence community and UFOs. Like I told Chris, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm going to use the 56 millimeter lens for this. It's on a crop sensor, so it's actually like an 85 millimeter lens equivalent. But so it's a longer focal length. And I was like, I happened to see a documentary here recently, and I noticed they used B-roll with that longer focal length, and I'm like, that's interesting. I like it. Let's do that.
Yeah,
It's a great idea.
I went and did it, and got the results. Cut that quick little teaser of some of the footage. I'm like, bro, this looks sick, man. You'll be able to sprinkle this through, and it's a different look from all the other docs.
It's subtle, right? But it gives a different feel, which is very useful in when you're watching a movie like that. Like the audience won't even know, but yeah.
It gives it like that X-Files feel kind of thing, you get all that footage. Speaking of X-Files, man, we watched an episode the other night. I mean, it was just insane how what this one episode was from 2018, and she's actually predicting the pandemic.
Oh, really?
And there's a vaccine.
It's one of the newer seasons of it?
It was the newer season, from 2018. Okay. It was it's from Ghoulie. Check out the episode Ghoulie, right?
Okay.
And she's talking about there's a pandemic that's happening. People are panicking. A vaccine is needed, but the vaccine is going to have alien DNA, and that's what's going to save people. Yeah. Very, very strange, man. I know, right?
That's why this quado has been growing down here the whole time. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, who knows, man? You know what? It's like, and it's funny. You guys don't watch any paranormal stuff. I don't listen to jazz. I don't listen
other than Dave Brubeck.
Brubeck I'll listen to, but I don't listen to any real, and I don't really even listen to Dave much anymore. Maybe some new stuff or something that's just come out or whatever, but that, it's a re-release of something. But I always try to go in with fresh ears, and that's what you guys have done. You've got like fresh eyes on it, and fresh, perspectives on it.
Yep. Yeah. The next thing I'm doing here, Chris, we haven't done this really, maybe a little, is with the Mavic 2 Zoom. It has the ability to shoot at a 24 millimeter focal length, the drone, as well as a 48 millimeter focal length. I've been shooting most everything in 24. One thing we did step up is we went from only shooting in 24 frames per second to doing some 120 frames so that the footage can be slowed down and it's that buttery smooth slow-mo. But the next thing, is, I will start shooting some footage on these trips also at the 48 millimeter focal length, because it's just something that it's subtle, but it's impactful. Like, it mixes the shots up. It mixes up the drone shots. It'll be nasty, dude. So I'll start getting that. I'm glad that came out of this.
It'll be gnarly, man.
It will, dude. Wait till you see it, dude. I'm telling you.
I do not doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Isn't balling. We go as hard as we can, man, and we hope for the best. We just,
it's great, man.
Like, luck is like when opportunity meets preparation, right?
That's the saying I was trying to say.
I
earlier.
knew that's what you were looking for earlier. I've been hiding that.
That's what happened. That's how you guys came together. This is how it all happened, man. And Tyler, when did that epiphany happen with you? I was just curious. When you did that little video with the son's dinosaur.
I think it was like May, I don't know, around May 25th or May 27th. I need to check of
2016.
2016, yeah. So like
incredible,
coming
man.
Up on 6 years or whatever.
Did you know that? So that's when we had our UFO sighting too. That was in February or January of 2016.
Oh wow!
And that's the one I talked to you about. I also the following year, and I've got a picture up on the wall here, but I forgot to tell you too. We had dinner at M. Night Shyamalan's house in Wayne. So we were invited to a dinner. They were having a vegan dinner there, and man, the guy was totally cool, man. I was sitting next to him all night, and he was just, and I didn't like talk to him about anything as far as films go, because I didn't want to be that guy, but we were just talking about everything. And the one thing that I did that got him very impressed was like the name of his house is Ravenwood. And I said, hey, is that a reference to Abner Ravenwood from Indiana Jones? And he goes, you got it, man. He's like, you're the only one that got that. And I said, dude, I'm a bullwhip expert, man. I know. So, but he was so cool. And so he had me play the piano for people there too. He's like, because my girlfriend Sherry, she said, that I play piano. So I played play this blues or whatever I was playing for everybody. And he goes, dude, you are awesome. So I was like,
that's so cool.
It was so cool, man. But, and then I was trying to like, then him and his wife, or me and his wife are pretty good friends on Facebook. So it'd be wild to score like a, one of the movies, man. But, it's all about connections, right?
Well, I was gonna say, the producer for my movie that I'm shooting here in September, she's working on some M. Night Shyamalan thing they're doing right now with Rupert Grint.
Oh, knock on the cabin or something
like that.
Yeah. Knock on the cabin door, something like that. Yeah.
She's doing like behind the scenes interviews and stuff. So
cool.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, he brings a lot to the area.
Yes, he does.
Divisive filmmaker sometimes, but I've liked his recent work quite a bit. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can see you guys up there, man. You're gonna be like, ladies and gentlemen, with the Oscar, and now we've got Tyler Transue, Chris Rupert.
We're spinning electrons, bro.
Yeah, you just got to keep that happen. It's all going to happen for us. It's all going to happen. There's this week in general, man. There's sometimes I do get bummed out with some stuff. If things aren't going right. And then I get into that head where it's like, oh man, and then I don't feel like doing anything, and I don't want to. And I try not to go there. I try to snap myself out of it, put myself in another state of mind, give myself positive talk, and say, this is going to happen. And but lately, man, it's been like really wild how all these things are coming to play. These things are happening, and it's all manifestation. It's all about laser focus on this. Putting it out to the universe. I like what you said about the universe, because that is so true. And I think a lot of people don't do that. But I think if you put that intent out there, it's going to hear you. It's going to answer. It's going to answer back. And that's what I wish for you guys, man. I really wish that for you, because I think that's going to happen. And, the content that you're putting out, that we're putting out. Hey, look, you know what? Bucks County Paranormal has its own comic book too, man. Did you see that?
That's so cool.
I'll have to send you guys one.
Dude, that's insane.
Did you make that, or how'd that come?
I did. It's
That's
just
awesome.
like, it's great, man. It was like this little follow-up thing. We did this, like, I took little stills from the thing, but it's all like in comic print, man. It's really cool. So I'm going to try to see, that's the other thing too, with everything that we're doing here, there's so many different avenues to go along with it. An artist friend of mine, Timothy Wayne Williams, he's been doing paintings of different scenes that we've been involved in my investigations. So he just did one with Dominic down in the dressing room in Cheney Hall. And I described to him what was going on there. He did the exact thing that I was describing in a painting form.
That's crazy.
And he did the Beast of Bray Road in the corn. I drew him like you did for Chris. I drew a little, this was months ago or last year. I did a little like description of like, I want to have him in the woods here, little pencil drawing there. He comes back like a day later with this beautifully done painting of the creature in the corn looking at us, and I got to send you guys that. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It's really, really good. So it's, all these things, and, putting it out there, we got front page of the Allentown Morning Call. It's all of the stuff that we need to put out there. And just, you got to blow your own horn. There's that part of people that you were saying before, Tyler, that, there's going to be haters out there, but you know what are they doing?
Yeah.
It's like, you just got to, if you have the passion and you're doing something that's good, it's going to make people happy. It's making money. You got to keep going and put good content out. So it's been what a pleasure, man. I mean, it's really been a lot of fun. That's the other thing at the end of the day, it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not work. It's fun.
It is fun. Yeah, it is fun.
Chris, sure. You probably love editing, right?
I do like editing quite a bit. Yeah.
But do you love it?
I don't know. I don't know what I love though. I like it. I have a love-hate relationship with everything where I make stuff and I'm like, yeah, and then I'm like disappointed with myself. But I think as long as I'm enjoying the moment when I'm doing it, it works out. And yeah, it's just something. I think a lot of creatives though are like me in that where they get frustrated with their work. You guys don't seem to. which
I
is
do.
cool.
Believe me, I do. I wish I had better cameras. That's one thing. I wish I had better. I wish I had your cameras. I just don't like what the camera that I'm using. So that's another thing that I'm going to be, looking into. And again, it comes down to finances. It's just like, I can't afford one right now. So that's tough. But I will eventually. But I think that'll put us over the edge as far as that kind of stuff goes, because then we'll be able to put out, better high quality stuff, that way.
Well, I think a lot of creativity comes down to limitations. Like you can be the most creative when you're so limited. And
That's
so
true.
I try and keep that in mind. Like I'm getting frustrated with my movie because I need more money and it's just not happening. So I'm getting creative in other ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
sure.
when it's all said and done, I'll probably be like, yeah, we did it. It'll be done. We did it. We overcame somehow. But
Yeah.
in the moment, sometimes you're like, oof.
I know. Yeah, and it's funny how something will pull that out of you, that
Yeah.
it'll pull that direction out of you and be like, it'll give you another thought of, and that's what happened with me too. I just decided, look, I'm going to do these videos. These are marketing videos for people, really, in a big sense of the word. They're advertising. I'm going to go get sponsors because it's going to be on TV. People want to, have their commercial on TV. So I'm going to charge them for the commercial, and then I'll put it together. And it's less than a color ad in a magazine. I mean, it's for a whole year. I mean, it's like insane for people, and it's like it's no problem. So,
do you enjoy doing the editing?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I love it because to me, it's like putting a piece of music together.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like you're telling that story. I love compiling all the footage and then putting it back. Like I have it, you probably do the same thing. I don't know. I have it done in my head. Mm-hmm. The whole movie's done. And then I'm working backwards now. Like when I go to edit.
I do with narrative stuff a lot of times, not with this.
Okay.
Just because I don't even know what half the interviews say most of the time because I'm not there for all of them. So you have to it. So you have to put it.
So when Tyler's out doing an interview, you're not there.
Not on all of them. On some of them, yes. But on a lot of them where he travels out of state, no. On none of those, I'm usually there.
But Tyler, do you edit those too, or do you have Chris edit all those?
I like edit the short because I just get so pumped up. As soon as I get home, I dump the footage on the computer. I edit a short trailer.
Yeah.
Send it to Chris. He's like, "Yep, that looks cool," or maybe change this or whatever, and I'll make the change, and then post it.
Love it.
And then I'm uploading all the footage to Drive. So like, he sees the trailer, but so he might know that. But typically, again, to be honest, the trailers are like usually something early on in the interview. We're not trying to give everything away per se.
And that's good.
But we're trying to legitimize the people that are in this documentary that, hey, these are experiencers, investigators, former Air Force Office of Special Investigations, counterintelligence officers, CIA officers. Like, we want people to know, like, yo, these, Tom Carey, right? Like this expert and Roswell author,
just something to get the audience interested.
Right? Tom really liked you guys too. He really thought you guys. Yeah, he thought you guys are the best, man. It was like for what you guys are doing, professional, and coming from Tom, that's a huge compliment. Believe me, because Tom he's seen it all.
I think the difference here with like the narrative and the doc stuff. So like when you're doing your show, like you already mentioned, like you're trying to do that reality style. So you kind of have a thing in mind where you're like, I should get a shot like this, a shot like that.
Right.
And we don't have that because again, I don't know what is going to like, I don't know what the story is yet until I start piecing it together.
I got you. Yeah.
So like, we don't go into the documentary like, oh, this will be this feeling. This is the tone, like none of that. Cause what if the people say stuff that goes against every vision I had?
Well, yeah, exactly. I have the town hall meeting that we just did. We had like 140 people at this town hall, and there's two people there was one guy that actually was very vocal, very energetic at the town hall. And so I'm looking at it, and we got footage of the town hall on camera, and as he's telling his story in the town hall, but I'm already looking at it like, okay, I'm going to have that shot. But I'm going to I took him off the side and put him in a room, and he told his story, and I did different camera angles, and I'm still working on that. I'm not really happy with a couple of things, but I was able to fix some things up. But I'm going to put his like a narration over top of this guy,
Yeah.
you know, and say, you know, and Kevin, you know, told us this story, and then dissolve it into the room.
I think that comes from your experience, right? Like from doing all these.
Probably, yeah, probably
Like,
just
start
from
to
that.
visualize it in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, but for that, you know, reality style type stuff, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get people all the time, you know, saying that, you know, on our paranormal page, help us, our house is haunted. You know, we or you know, I saw a UFO, or you know, and if people say that the house is haunted, I'm not one to say, because we don't do that. We're not going to go in a house and like and cleanse it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll usually refer them to somebody who will do that, and certainly not charge them to do that.
What
you
about
know,
cleaning houses? Will you-
cleaning, I'll do that.
Oh yeah. Like he needs a camera, bro. Come on. That's X amount of houses. Go,
I need some money,
clean.
man.
Dude, you see this IO walks here? I'm down for an interview. I have a strong near-death experience. I saw an alien. 93% sure my instincts felt I've been there before, though. But the message was alien and vague.
Wow,
Interesting.
There you go. That looks like they're from YouTube there.
interesting, man.
Send us an email, info@darksidemedia.com. Give us some more details.
Absolutely. Have you guys?
And Eric, what's your email too? If you want to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's real simple. EM as in Mary, Q jazz @gmail.com. And that would be phenomenal. We're actually working on our website for Eric Mintel Investigates, or I should say I'm working on it, and got that coming up pretty soon. And I bought a domain for Eric Mintel Investigates, Bucks County Paranormal Investigations, and another domain name, which I've licensed, called On the Watch for Squatch.
Nice.
Which is on the back of one of our t-shirts. Not on this one that I have here, but we're going to get new shirts made up. I'm going to send you guys a t-shirt too. It's going to be Eric Mintel Investigates.
Hell yeah.
And you got to mix Dockside Media, man. Come on, let's get some merch.
We do need to make some Dockside Media shirts.
I keep telling Chris that. I'm like, bro, I'm going through the airports, hustling with this backpack with all these cameras and a duffel bag with a drone and tripods and audio stuff and like little portable lights. I'm like, dog, I need a Dockside Media something, dude. There's a percentage of people who see this knucklehead and look on their phone, Dockside Media, and whatever. That converts to followers and converts to rentals and buys. And
You're not kidding, man.
And
Absolutely.
build a brand.
That's exactly what happened to us when we went out to Elkhorn in October. I had my jacket on. It's got ghosts on it. It's got Bigfoot. It's got this. And I had the Bucks County Paranormal. Everybody stopped us and wanted to know what was going on, and so we told them about the show. People wrote it down. I mean, it was like we made a lot of new fans that way. So it was really, really cool. And it's that way. I mean, I'm even at Starbucks the other day, man. And I said, yeah, I was just out in Wisconsin with my paranormal team. Bam. It's like, oh, really? What? That sounds phenomenal. What is that all about? And I told them the story, and I'm hitting people one at a time, man. It's like just to get the word out there, with the limited, funds that I have to, for mass marketing or whatever. This has all been always been a grassroots effort, and it's just been that way from the ground up. My music and the paranormal always been from the ground up.
You have a very charismatic personality, very energetic and likable. So that certainly helps.
Try to.
No, it works. I'm sure that helps people engage with you as well.
Yeah, I always say that, with these shows, I think the success of the whole show is you've got to have that likability factor. Mm-hmm. If people see people that are genuinely, interested in what's going on, I mean, they're going to be with you the whole way. That's why Lee on the farm out in Wisconsin, he said he loved us. He loved what we were doing because it was a great crew. It was just, it was that familiarity kind of thing where you're very comfortable with each other. And it was genuine thing. And because I was genuinely saying, man, Lee, thank you so much, man, for letting us be on the property and giving us full access to the property. He was blown away because who does that? He was, his awesome. Mind is like, who does that? Who says thank you anymore? You know?
I hear you though. You can definitely, if you've done interviews with people, you can definitely sense sometimes when it's like we're just not jiving right together. Something's off with us. Like, all right, yeah, I've experienced that before.
I had a drummer in my band one time, you know, and he went to the White House with me the first time actually. And every time I got on stage, I always felt like I did something wrong.
Yeah.
We never got along. We just never got along. And 2 days before a week-long tour, this dude winds up quitting the band and put me out without a drummer for this whole tour up in New England. This is in 2000. So I'm like, so I wound up getting another drummer for the thing. But now fast forward 17 years later, we're playing up in Allentown at Bethlehem Music Fest in Bethlehem. And I see him walking out this hotel door, and I go, "Oh, George." And he comes down and he gives me a hug. He says, "Man, I am so sorry for the way I acted 17 years ago. It's been bothering me ever since. And I really apologize." And I thought, wow, this is
Cool.
it's a grown up thing to do, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was like water over the bridge at that point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people change for sure. So
Yeah. So it's amazing, man. Life is incredible, man. It's just like, it takes so many curveballs. You know, it'll throw so many things at you. It's just how you react to them or not react, you know? And especially in our business.
do you meditate?
Well, I work out every day.
Okay.
I'm at the gym every day, man. Like from 8:30 to like 10 every day. And except for the last 2 weeks I was on the road, man. I was like, I couldn't wait to get into the gym. But this week so far, I've been in the gym every day, and it's been great, man. Yeah, I mean, that's my therapy. It's my therapy. You know, healthy, try to eat healthy and try to, you know, stay as healthy as possible. You know, I mean, look, I may be probably one of the most Brady Bunch kind of people you're ever going to talk to. I never drank really. I never smoked, never did pot, nothing. Never did one drug ever. And
Me either.
I didn't have I didn't have any kind of like, you know, desire for that. But you know, maybe in my 40s, I started drinking some wine and whatnot, but that was, you know, that was it. But I always liked, you know, I was like, I don't want to like let the creativity slip there. So maybe it was a control thing, but it's funny. If I have a couple of glasses of wine, I feel like I play better too, you know? But
Well,
my-
that's cool though. I
with
think
that
that's encouraging
creativity,
for people, creatives out there who, you know, right, that just, you know, some people might feel discouraged, like, oh, I need some mind altering substance
yeah,
to be creative. And so I love that your journey is taking you to the White House twice and getting on this Princeton TV network, and then through there the distribution to Amazon and worldwide. And
oh yeah. I mean,
and
oh
you
my
just
God.
have this creative desire from within. And
My
you don't need
dad.
anything else.
Oh yeah, and you know, and I looked at, and I didn't want to. I never smoked because my dad did all the smoking for us. He smoked. My God, I don't know how this guy did this. 3 packs a day of Marlboro 25s. He's 75 cigarettes a day. I mean, this is like chain smoking. Blah, blah, blah. Well, he wound up he got lung cancer, but he's 81. They just radiated him with radiation. He didn't do chemo. Radiated. They got rid of all the lung cancer. He's cancer free now. So it's like, it's
Going
amazing.
to 4 packs a day now.
He's like, damn it, I'm going to do 5.
That's awesome. That's
But he
cool.
doesn't,
That's
you know,
glad to hear it.
he doesn't drink or smoke anymore. But yeah, he wants to live to 100. So, you know, what we were talking about, it's the mindset, positive mindset. And I think at the end of the day, whoever's listening to this, if there's one thing you're going to get out of this, it's stay positive. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something, because you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love everything about that. I feel like we can more or less get to wrapping this up. Eric, where can listeners find you, you know, your band, and your paranormal investigation?
Sure. They could find us at Eric Mintel Quartet.com. That's MINTEL, ericmintelquartet.com. And then that's my jazz quartet. And we've got my Eric Mintel Investigates. You can find that on Facebook at Eric Mintel Investigates. You can also find it on YouTube at Eric Mintel Investigates. Like and follow us there. Also on Instagram, it's Eric Mintel Investigates, and I have my other Instagram page, Eric Mintel. And I started to dabble a little bit in TikTok, so putting a little tiny clips out here and there. So that's always a good thing, And
dude, I got my TikTok going.
Oh, cool. We gotta follow each other, man.
Oh no,
dude, you have
it's just slow mo of my dogs and stuff eating things.
Well, listen, you're gonna see my TikTok with me wearing a Mandalorian helmet, and
Go.
I'm a Mandalorian. So I watched the season with when Mando finally reunites with Grogu. So I took off the Mandalorian helmet, and I had a Spider-Man mask underneath it. So that's how I roll, man. Me and ET right here. So.
I know, that's awesome, ET.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Well, Eric, thank you so much for coming on, man. I love your energy, the hustle, the heart, all the things you've accomplished, and all the things that you've yet to accomplish, dude. And also, as far as age goes, man, I think we're about 20 years away from some like anti-aging whatever stuff where I'm spinning into existence. Like, I'm going for like 200 to 300.
Absolutely. Dude, I'm 54. I'm 54. So I'm going for it, man. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go and get younger. I'm doing the Benjamin Button.
Go for it, man. The only way that happens is if you think that it can happen. So
I'm 12 years old up here. That's why. So that's
I hear that.
Yo, it helps.
Definitely.
So, man, thank you so much for coming on, Chris. Thank you for stopping by, dude. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Chris, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
I wasn't feeling the love, man. I was hurt.
He was.
I can tell later why I was late.
Nah,
I'm
man.
glad you finally made it.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Have yourself a great rest of the week.
All right, buddy. You too.
All right. Until next time, keep on keeping.